Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is episode 53 of Constant Elevation. My name is Tamal, like Jamal, but with a T. Got my legendary co host, Brother Jay, X Clan, Black Watch, Brooklyn, New York in the building. We do this build once a month. It's hip hop related, get into a lot of different things. All of our prior episodes are on the Carrying the Culture YouTube channel. And we are ready to rock. You doing good today?
I'm good, my lord, man. I'm good, man.
Or let's get it. Let's get it. I think make sure we're live because sometimes that is all right. Yeah. So all right. Thank you for. I love Chat GPT now because I just get these topics like crazy. I ain't gonna even front.
I see
Uh,
it coming out and shit.
yeah, and then but it's cool because it sparks more for like I'll be like, oh, I didn't think of that, and then so I'm definitely good tool for what we're trying to do. Not I don't know fuck shit. So um yeah, so tonight's topic is an interesting one, and I really wanted to get your take on. And the title is hip hop movement or market, and I'm definitely curious to see where you go with this. But what but what I wanted to do when we as far as starting this goes, I wanted to because I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this before, like this particular thing I'm going to ask you. Let's start in the like when you were. I mean, you're a few couple years older than me, but let's start when you were young, or when like your first exposure to hip hop, whether any of the elements or whatever it was,
Right.
and what are your earliest memories of of hip hop? Like as far as it, because we know it. I mean, as far as I understand it, it started. Started in the streets. It was partying. We had black spades, and it was. We understand the history. It was definitely an organic thing, at least in the very beginning. But it quickly money and things like that. So, but for you, what was your earliest experiences of it, even if you have any of it being a movement, if you will?
Well, I think I first recognized hip hop as like a peacemaker or a
Hmm.
treaty between our parents and our generation, and the children's generation. So, for instance, when the parents, when the local Catholic school had a party or a jam, and the parents were watching being the security, and the kids just want to experience the party without the bullets and the madness and the crazy. The parents started securing um, parties for us. You know what I'm saying? So we can get that and not sneak out of the house and try to go to the clubs that we were too young to be a part of. So it was kind of like a treaty or so between our generations, like them teaching us how to rock to the music that they grew up off of. So you know what I'm saying? So I experienced it like that before it became a movement for me later down the line and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to go and sneak into clubs and to get in trouble and stuff. The parenting around my neighborhoods will always make sure that we had a spot to go to and basically for them to secure, man. So that was a different era.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah,
not only were we using their records and stuff, man, they had our back and whatnot, and we kind of grew up together with that. You know what I'm saying? This
yeah,
generation now is separate because the computer is their guardian. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, we're not the guardians of this new generation. They do it on their own and they trust the machine more than the man.
Right. Yo, you made an excellent point because a lot of times I get pushback from people like, who say to me that our parents weren't rocking with hip hop and they weren't into it and they weren't, um, and I say, well, maybe. And at first, maybe they didn't understand some things, but my father put me on to Eric B. and Rakim. I went to Raising Hell show. My first concert was with my father. Like, he was right there next to me. And like he didn't understand some things or whatever, but like, particularly around when you guys came out, Public Enemy came out, and I was, I had I had the X hat, and I had the black medallion. I had the African medallions,
Yeah.
and and Afro pick and my shit. Like they understood, my parents understood that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand all the details and nuances of what I was into, but they understood that, and they actually encouraged it. My mom took me when when I lived in Virginia for a short moment. My mom signed me up for a breaking class.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So I think it's very important that you said that, because a lot of time the narrative is, oh, our parents hated everything. I'm like, I don't know, because we were following right along in their footsteps and taking their music
Yes.
and just making it, just adding our own young flavor to it. Right?
Exactly. We were taking the sweet spots off the records that they danced to. So, they were reminding us how they danced. We share similar groove to how our parents danced and socialized with music and so on. So, the whole gap that exists right now, the dance is different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The language is different. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up holding hands with these generations of music. And I think we basically let the industry define what hip hop is and what that music is. And this generation learns from the machine what that message is, man. They didn't learn it from us.
Right. Right. So you as a kid, I mean, because I've never, like we've never really talked about like what was. I mean, you were DJing before you were an MCing, right? So like you as a kid, I mean, you were I mean, a normal kid, I guess. I mean, you were, or maybe not. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it's so funny. I'm gonna be honest, brother. I had like, again, when we first started rocking,
Mhm.
I was like, oh my god, his brother Jay, he's like 75 years old, and like, you know what I mean? Like I had it all twisted. But so sometimes I'm like, he's not normal. Like, he's not a person. He doesn't have to eat or anything. But so when I say, so forgive me when I say, oh, you're a normal kid. But my point is, I'm trying to get at is when you were a kid,
Yes.
um, you were what was that experience like for you, like just in general, your hip-hop experience as a youngster?
Well, I mean, I DJ by the permission of the grandmasters in my area.
Right.
So, I was standing on a crate, DJing block parties. You know what I'm saying? And then the DJs who the older DJs than me would lend me equipment to DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They trusted my father, and my father opened up the yard for me to, get the turntables from across the street, Grandmaster Keith, and then Grandmaster Price would give me an amp, and DJ Ding would give me, a piece of equipment as well. So these were the older DJs saying, yo, what I'm saying, young nigga coming up, what I'm saying, we fuck with you, and that's big to earn that. What I'm saying? Just ain't no regular kids just coming out and hooking up the wires and everybody start bringing equipment and whatnot. What I'm saying? They respect my bloodline and they respected my drive. I had never spoke a word on the mic or anything, and they just loved the fact that I loved to play music. My father would hire me to do the barbecues when the family come through and just give me a little change, play music. We ain't had to hire no DJs or anything to come through. So I always had a little gig. I can get a little tip from fam and stuff. And that, that's just incentive. What I'm saying? They didn't think it was gonna be a career or anything like that. It just was like, yo, what I'm saying? You do it well. I learned the blending, and then I started, you know, increasing my music knowledge, just not looking at the album covers, but doing as much research on these people. We didn't have internet and all of that. So, you had to get creative to learn, Johnny Mathis and Ashford and Simpson and all of that kind of stuff, and just get off of the record covers and get into the studying,
Yeah.
libraries, get to the areas that are going to give you the information, man. Talk to musicians and see what they know. I have musicians on the block, what I'm saying, that were putting out records and stuff, and I would just drill them and ask them questions, and you know, you gotta be in it.
Yo, one quick question before I ask you next. what just frame it for us, like time period, like 80 or mid 80s, early
Yeah,
80s.
I'm in my 50s right now. I'm 55.
Okay.
So in the time frame that we talking about 80s, when I'm teenager and whatnot, mid 80s.
Okay, mid 80s. Got you. And so, yo, you made a good point, right? So there was no internet. I was just talking to my man last night, and about this, like how much you had to work to like find new music, to find to you had to really research the culture. Like we talked about a song, like you would hear a song on the radio,
Mm.
you would hear it going off, record like 30 seconds of it, and be like, yo, what was that? I gotta hear that. Like the hunger for like to 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 participate, to break, or whatever it was, like whether it was whatever element it was, I got to do that, and I got to find out how that is, and I got to ask, and I got to read, and I got to. You said library, like who even goes to the library? You know what I'm saying now, like library,
Yeah, that's
like
what the knowledge is. You
right,
know what I'm saying? And then also AM radio. You got to think about how many people were doing like community radio where they may play a song and then break down who the artist was. So you had to know when to tune in. Very few FM. FM was really like action go. You know what I'm saying? But AM radio provided a lot of knowledge back then. You know what
right,
I'm saying? If you can get the frequency, and
right,
a lot of people were talking and teaching on AM radio at that time frame. You just got to learn how to dig. It's more than just digging in the crates. You got to be all over the place. I used to get samples from all kind of crazy places and stuff, man. Just what I'm saying. It just matters your drive, bro.
right, right,
So
right,
when you said is the music a movement, or a market, it didn't start as a market and it didn't start as a movement either. You know what I'm saying? Either or. You fall into those categories once you master the craft.
mm,
You feel what I'm saying? So the fork in the road is like, yo, you want to go the market route, be the commercial kid, or you want to go with the organic movement and sustain, or maintain the elements that started this thing. The respect of the parents, the respect of the knowledge and all of that. When you go commercial, you basically, ramping up your originality at that point. You know what I'm saying? There's not too much biting off the records and whatnot. You got to really create your own to create your own signature. You know what I'm saying? If you maintaining in a movement fashion, you just keeping the tradition, of the digging in the crates and the love of it and all of that emotion that you have. There's really not too much emotion in the market, dog. It's either you're a hit or not.
yeah. I mean, emotion comes, I guess, when you get that, if or when you don't get that bread. Like, I mean, you like either happy or you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, man. There's not too much money in the maintenance. You know what I'm saying, of the tradition.
Yeah.
That's why when you see the people who have chosen that commercial field, they're constantly pulling their brains for an original cut or taking something that is old and then upgrading it, to the time frame. They pay attention to those increments of time. Like it's a trend now, and people are doing this now, and you got to keep flipping. If you just maintaining the knowledge, you just continue to expand the library, so to speak. You start to teaching. This is Brother Jay. This is Most Def. This is Roberta Flack. This is Gladys Knight, and then you're breaking down. You know what I'm saying? There's not too much money in that knowledge. Serious, dog. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the movement is never an attractive thing to people because it's not something that sparks that bread right away. There's money involved, but it's not the billions and billions of dollars that are being made in the industry now, man. If you really got it to where you are like a modern day Stevie Wonder and you writing songs left and right, dog. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully so. Get that commercial bread. You know what I'm saying? And hold it down.
Right.
So it's not a good or bad. It's just an option. It's not. That's why I tell them don't fight and don't war because cats miss a certain era or whatever. It's just that things evolved, and some people chose to stay country with it, and some people chose to go to the city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yo, what was like? I'm trying to picture this like you 13, 14, because I know it was young when you started DJing. What's a brother J party? You 13, 14? Like what's on the tables? Like what were you spinning? I want to be there in my brain.
I can just off the head, Starsky, Run DMC. I love Run DMC's music. Sucker MCs is always ill to cut. I go into breaks. I like Billy Squire, Big Beat, um, Pac Jam, Numbers. I can just keep rolling. Art of Noise, Buffalo Gals, Ralph McLaren, and them. I spin from all eras, dog. You know what I'm saying? I had mixes with Michael Jackson, with different breaks and whatnot to bring in. It was about blending for me. Before scratching, the turntables weren't really solid enough for you to catch a real good scratch. You had to know how to layer your shit with a record underneath, or stacking your mats correctly if you want to scratch. But when you're doing a party, there's really no need for you to be Grandmaster Flash.
Right, right,
The thing is to keep people on the floor, and that added to me when I started learning how to rhyme, because your bars have to be magnetic enough to keep the people in front of you rocking.
right, right,
So the
right.
same kind of magnetism is used with the DJing and stuff. So my blending was something that I mastered. And that's something that the grandmasters taught me, because they weren't all doing the tricks and all of that stuff. Them dudes can rock all night.
Yeah.
Your knowledge of your crate, Love is the Message is like five, 5-10 minute long record, knee deep. So this gives you time to go dig in the crate while the record is bopping, keep people from hitting your table and knocking your needle off and stuff. You start creating your rhythm and your regiment when you
Right.
move around, and then your entourage grows. Remember, now you carrying crates of records, so you got to have good homies to help you carry and stuff like that. This is when it was innocent. Look how innocent that is.
Yeah.
And then you got to hit that fork in the road. Say like, am I going to go on and become Terry Jam and Lewis or whatever, like a producer guy, and start hitting the machines and learning how to make my own, or am I going to keep DJing the artists that keep coming out and letting people know what's out in the world? You know what I'm saying? Because you're a conduit like that.
Right, 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 right.
When you start creating your own, you don't really have time to show other people's material off. You got to big up your own signature. So that's why I say it comes to a fork in the road.
Yeah, you got to make some decisions. Got to make.
Correct. So there is a movement and a market, but it's not a bad thing. People look at it like, like, are they going to get old school on us and tell us that, the commercial guys are wrong? No,
Yeah.
there's no wrong or right to that. You got to go where your DNA fits.
Right.
Some
Right.
cats don't fit in that creative market. They can't get off of biting off of old records. So they don't have musicianship in them. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it's not their thing.
Right. Right. Right.
They'll always continue. I fight with producers to this day. It's like, stop sampling for 5 minutes. After 30 years of rocking, 20 years, whatever it is, give me an original bass line that came from you. Don't borrow from the AI. Sit down with a guitar one time and see what you can do. By this time, you probably have learned notes and don't even test yourself. By just always hitting the beat machine, or starting to let the computer do for you. Pick up an instrument. You know what I'm saying? And see what you got. Because by this time, you're probably a better musician than you know.
Then you even realize you probably your sound, your ability to pick up sounds and understand different things, sequences and stuff. It probably it's because you're doing it, but you don't even realize it. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I've ever since you first said that to me about sampling, I've looked at it differently, and I appreciate it because
Mm-hmm.
like I sampled when I made beats and stuff back in the day, but I made this. My friends and I, we made beats. We took instruments that we didn't know how to play and started trying to play them. and that gave us more range. Like our samples were just I sampled just for like sounds, like different. Like
Right.
I didn't sample
It
like
was shocking.
yeah, I didn't sample like whole drums. I thought that was crazy. And it's for me, I didn't. It's not something I did, but I get it. But I appreciate you always talking about like make create some music from scratch on your own. I really
You know, man. You know, it's about that time. You know, after you so many years of borrowing everybody, how would you feel if you made 10 beats and then somebody started chopping your stuff and not listening to your composition? You know what I'm saying? You got a full composition and somebody just listens to you, find a little sweet spot and just keeps rolling. So at some time you gotta be, you gotta reverse or break the cycle, so to speak, and say, yo, man, let me do my joint like a Johnny Mathis would compose his situation or Barry White would compose. Let me see what comes out of me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats are trying now, but they're using the computer to do that. You know what I'm saying? We have a consumer ear and a DJ ear, and we can, we think we know notes by feeling, but if you don't have experience, that creative portal is limited, dog.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? If you listen to just one style of music, that creativity is limited. You know what I'm saying? You
Absolutely.
listen to classical music. I listen to a lot of classical
Yeah, you
music,
told me.
and I know I can feel where pockets are. I feel where pockets are that I can rhyme or where a beat fits in. You know what I'm saying? I've learned how to let my lyrics go and not have to depend on the boom to the tap and the tap and the tap. You know what I'm saying? That can limit you. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So,
It's
there's
very restricting, right? Like,
correct,
yeah.
correct,
It makes
correct.
a lot of sense. Yo, my mom forced me when I was in third grade. It's like like schools come around to pick an instrument, right? Like she's and so it was either band or orchestra, and I always did the different shit. I was like, everybody's in band. Fuck these niggas. Like I'm gonna go to the orchestra. Like,
Yeah.
and I learned how to. And I picked up the violin. And I played the violin for 10 years,
Also,
and it was a love and hate thing because I was being kind of, first it was something I was told to do, but I started liking. I got pretty good at it, but it changed. It changed how I listen to music. Like it being involved in that, playing classical music and playing some of like the great other compositions of other different stuff. It changes you, I'm glad you just brought up that point, like listening to different stuff. Being like it's I'm so grateful for the the year I spent in college when like I had my black friends, my white friends, and I was listening to all this rock, this 90s grunge stuff, and Nirvana and all this stuff. And it was great because it just opened my whole realm. You know what I mean? So it's a good point there.
yeah, bro. You gotta be universal in order to relate to the universe. You
Ah,
know? Sense.
hey, that's good. That sounds like AI. Yeah, that's coming from you though. That's you the AI. Yeah. You got yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, that's facts though. So yo, as far as like you brought up another interesting point about DJing, like the blends, man, and the transitions. Like a dope DJ will have you on the fourth song, and you still think you on the first song. You know
correct.
what I'm saying? Like you're not even you all of a sudden you in a different. That's my favorite shit. And I've interviewed a few of the executioners that they cut it up on the turntables and stuff. And Rob Swift and Mr. Sinister, and I asked them, I said, yo, like, what's the importance of being able to rock a party? And they were like, look, we do all this stuff. You're not a DJ to me if you can't rock that party. If
Well,
you're if people are like nobody want to hear all that all night long, man. Like
bro, you gotta know your crate. I admire people who know their crates. You know your BPMs. You know what mixes. You don't force shit. You know what I'm saying? If a person is on the dance floor and they got to go to the bathroom, dog, make them pee on themselves, dog. They can't leave the floor. You know what I'm saying? You know that vibe, like, damn, but oh man, that came on, and they just keep rocking. till they sweating and coming out of their clothes awkwardly, like, damn, I've been dancing that long. You
Right.
know, that's
Right.
real DJ.
Yeah. Or if they're thinking about leaving, right? It's late. Like you think there's many times I've wanted to leave a party. Even a couple weeks ago, I was with my wife. And I'm like, damn, we gotta go. I gotta be up early. I'm old. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I'm like literally heading to the door.
Yes.
I'm like,
Something.
turn right back, bust that Yui. Nah, and you get that second win. There's times I've been fellas fall asleep at clubs. It'd be 3 in the morning,
Yes.
and I'm up. Let's go.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's
So those are the traits. So,
yeah,
so like I said, those elements relate in the marketing world when you create a song that
right,
makes a person sing when they're in the shower, take it to the workout. It's the same thing as the DJ keeping them on the floor, but now your creativity is keeping that person in a mood or a theme of whatever the song is. So if it's a Celine Dion song, it makes you feel like the great warrior with the sword or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And when people make it, when you make a song by theme, they should always feel that when they hear that. So it's along the same lines of the DJ carrying the movement of music. You want to keep reminding them why music is beautiful, why it's great, why you should always stop and tribute with dance. So it's the same. It's the same elements, but like I said, it's two different roads.
right,
Doing one for profit to get to a mantle to establish a signature, and then the other one is carrying the stream of what has been and
right.
what's current and what's coming to the future. That's a job. That's why I never shit on the young heads. You'd be surprised at some of the cats that I be choosing
I know. I mean, like what? Yeah, but yeah,
because I don't listen to it all the time. So when I come back to it, I can say, damn, Lil Wayne has improved.
right, right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Or De La Soul has improved lyrically, boom, boom, boom. Because I'm not all the time oversaturated to where I'm tired. Like, let me listen to 10 hip hop jams today. I can go in there with a full mind and be like, damn, I haven't heard no banging ass hip hop. I wonder what's cracking right now.
Right,
And,
right.
and the new generation start to develop because when this new wave of music started, it sounded very nursery rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, when you keep doing that, you find other ways. You start finding different ways
Right,
to drop that shit. You compare it to basketball. Everybody was mad, like, damn, the center is shooting threes. And and now you look for them to shoot.
right. They're like he's a 6'10". He can shoot the rock. You're like, what? That was never a thing back in the day.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the power of humanity, though. We have the power to adjust and then evolve. You know what I'm saying? So we can't diss the evolution of music. We can't just say, "Hey, I'm a DJ and I just play the oldies." No, dog, you got to play all the way around. You got to keep us hip. What is hip hop if it's not keeping us hip and abreast of what's happening? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's not just hip hop is not just the sound of a break beat and the boom bap and the whatever. It's whatever is in the stream, evolving and adjusting to the time. So we have to, we can't make it mean, oh, that's rap music and this is hip hop music. Stop dividing it, dog. It's all wordplay and rhythm at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But they just are different responsibilities in the stream. Who is maintaining and who is creating a new signature for us to study.
Right.
You know
You,
what I'm saying?
you made a good point earlier about like the DJ, putting people on, and the DJ used to break records. That was the point of the DJ. Like I mean, even back even in like '90s, I mean, there was a lot of like mixtape DJs. I mean, even just going all the way back, the DJ broke the music, and,
Yes.
and I feel like that's really, really gone as far as hip hop culture goes. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, because I don't really see DJs breaking music anymore. Like,
Well, as I always tell you, dog, cats, when you make a record, you got to have money to pay people to spin your shit.
yeah,
You feel me?
mm,
back to
Unfortunately.
you gotta pay, yo. If you want people to run your shit, yo, that you doing the park jam this weekend, yo, can I give you $20 to spin my record two or three times? Can I give you $50? You think you won't get played? Homie will play you all day. Give him a bag of herb and $50, and he'll make you famous in the area. People don't do their homework. They think they just, I made a record, so you should play it because I'm from around the way. No, man, tip me. I'll play you at all my parties. Every time you see my flyer and you tip me that $20 to $50 just to play your shit a couple times, you'll be the number one dude in the neighborhood.
Mm.
You know me? You know, old fashioned street marketing, dog. It's no different than hiring a national DJ service or whatever. They doing the same shit that you are doing. Okay, we got this new record, Busta Rhymes. He just dumped us 10 racks. I want all my DJs in Cali, that Drake show. I want that covered. I want 3 playing. I want 3 times playing there. I want the radio stations that we have in our shit. I want them running it as well. Here's your tip. It ain't no different. Ain't no different, brother. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. And that's the unfortunate part of what you're telling me. And you took our conversation and brought a hard dose of truth to that motherfucker. Like, but that's real though. I mean that's real though. And basically, you're saying like the paper play is kind of always, in some ways, always kind of been there. And to a certain extent. I mean, it does seem like I mean, at least as far as back in the day, DJs, did it seemed like they, I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. It did seem like they cared a little bit more as far as what they were playing, and took some, let's say, pride, or
They had some freedom until it was taken from them.
right.
I'm not going to sit here and let you play all the homeboys mixtapes from around the way when record companies are paying me to say 97 whatever, hot 97 or community station, I need you to play A, B, and C, his little tip. I'm not going to let you get on there like, yo, I'm DJ whatever and I want to play all my homie shit today. No, dog, it's not certified. To be on a label was like certified, like, I can really do this and people invest in me. And that's when the rules had to start happening. Like, yo, as a commercial artist breaking a signature, people pay for you to be in rotation.
Right. So was there a particular time that, like, you saw? I mean, I know you've talked a couple times about the fork in the road. So has the fork in the road always been there, or was there a time when? Because I mean, I don't know. I would assume that early on, the money wasn't like the driving factor in all of this and all the elements and stuff like that, and DJing and rapping. But like, was there a distinct moment that you saw things shift, or was it just a natural evolution of things just happening?
When you get older and them bills hit.
Ah!
Real talk. Little kids standing on the crate, got to go to school in the morning is different than the electric bill is due, gas bill is due. Is this a hobby for me and I just do this on the weekends, or am I a musician now? Am I touring? Am I, signing those contracts? The reality, not the delusion now, because a lot of cats never got out their lab to get out into the world. So, is that delusion or the fact that you didn't have the right personnel around you? We speak about that, the levels of management and building your team and stuff like that. So, if it's real deal, then other human beings should believe in you, directly around your way first before you reach out to investors. If you ain't got no love for where you come from, what are you trying to do? Trying to capture the world? That doesn't make sense. If you can't just gather the cats of where you made it to say, yo, that's dope. That really represents, where we're from and who you are as a unique individual. If you don't have that support, then how do you hope to gain the world's trust?
Right.
Well, you kind of trust, you test yourself there. So when you're starting, bro, it's innocent, but when you get older, it's like, damn, I'm no longer the teenager or the young head standing on the crate. I'm now standing at the fork of the road. Like, is DJ like, every other Saturday, or I just do it in my basement for my friends? Or is it something to where I can go get some paper for this, make a name for myself?
Right.
That fork in the road has many lanes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Once
The forks become they separate and become more forks, right?
you
Almost.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Because you don't get directly to the top of the commercial market when you decide to make the turn. Now you got to handle all the wines and stuff that come with that side of the road, the paved road, and if the carrying the movement side is the dirt road, you got to be ready to go off road. It's not friendly. It's not paved. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So it's a little different.
Bumpy ass ride, huh? Like,
Exactly. Is your vehicle prepared to make that decision? Do you have to back up and say, yo, I'm a better musician? Or is there a turn up here where I can get onto the other pass to go back across to the other lane? I learned something. You gotta know where you're headed. You know what
right.
you're looking for. Some people need a little bit more of that off-road time so they can learn how to be more grateful when the road is paved.
Mm.
They don't get enough of that off-road time. You know what I'm saying? They see it as, once I go here, I can never go back, or once I go commercial, I can never go back. A lot of pop artists are being more humble than they usually are. You know what I'm saying? When you start seeing some of those big names start DJing and shit, that's them going from the commercial life. I want to go off road.
Right.
I want to DJ in a bar full of drunk ass people who love everything that I put on, and I don't even have to say a word as a vocalist. So you see Badu DJing, you see DJ Snoopadelic, you see all these, legends just want to go to a place like, I don't want to sing. I just want to play music, man, and cats give me that same energy as when I'm vibing and whatnot. I want to carry y'all into my library, my playlists and shit that I fuck with. You know what I'm saying? That's coming back.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I
Yeah.
mean, so you don't think was necessarily a distinct shift in like the whole overall aspect of hip hop? You think there was always going to be um, different lanes and or different movement and market. I mean, yeah, movement and market. Like you think that was it's always kind of just been there. You're saying,
Yeah, it's always been
yeah,
there. And they don't analyze it like how we talking about, but it naturally happens. At some point you have to make the decision. It's a fork in the road. So either you crash or you make your decision. So it naturally happens.
right, right, right,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You're not gonna sit there and fool yourself like, I'm a great producer. I'm a great producer. It's either you make that decision and dedication or not. If you're gonna maintain your DJing, it's a decision that you make. Like, yo, man, I still go do parties, every once in a while to rock my folks and whatnot, and that's enough for me.
right,
I'm
right,
saying, you get over yourself. And stop chasing a dream that's making you crash and lose money and lose time in life. You know what I'm saying? Be true to yourself. Everything you want is not necessarily what you need.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of honesty. I mean, that's a big thing. I've talked about this a lot with people, like just being honest with yourself, right? We talk about the star in your own head, right? You know what I mean? Just being like realistic, because I mean, I've always said people push back when I say this, but like not like you say you can do anything, dream big, do anything. No, you can't.
No, you
Like,
can't.
no, you can't. Like, I'm 5'8". I realized that I've been 5'8" forever.
Right.
I thought I was gonna be taller. I realized very quickly when everybody else was hit their growth spurt, and I mind what happened when I was in like third grade or whatever, that
Right.
I wasn't gonna be playing professional basketball.
Correct. Correct. No
Like,
matter what you do, I felt the same way. I felt like I had ups. Once
me
I
too.
started dunking on folks and copping boards and doing whatever, I thought like, yo, I'm going to the NBA. No, dog. When you go to that tryouts and the point guard is like 6'2", and you talking about you like 5'11" and shit like that, you can have ups all day, but you're gonna have a hard road, dog, when the Real players come out starting 6'4", 6'5", and got double your ability. The reality has to sink in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be around here rhyming around the way and then feel that you can go into a battle where all the city is coming into one place and you like one of five. And you gotta realize, like, damn, am I ready to represent my borough as a voice of my area, of my upbringing? You know what I'm saying? That's a lot because
Right.
there's millions of people like in a city like New York. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, being top 5, top 10 in the city. That has to be a lot. What kind of impact? What kind of pen writing and dedication to breath control and stuff do you have to do that to come out like that, family?
Right. Right.
That's different. You know.
Right. Yeah, and take some honesty and some real hard conversations with ourselves. And if we have those, then we'll be in a better place because we'll make some better decisions, right? And we won't waste time. You know what I mean? Like, I always say, like, some ideas just aren't good, man, and that's okay. I think it takes some intelligence to like realize, and having good people in your corner to maybe help you
Have
realize
yes men. You
what
can't
happened.
be yes man. You got to have a solid A&R that lets you know off the gate. No, this shit is whack. No, this shit is great. Period. And there has to be a reason behind their ear because you can't exist behind mood. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's mood, like, I don't feel like hearing that today. You got to have somebody. It's like somebody tasting your wine. You know what I'm saying? They have to have a neutral taste and
Mm,
neutral palate, to what's happening. So, they can't be someone who likes too sweet, someone who likes to sour. They got to be able to accept what it is. You need that music connoisseur like that, to put an ear on your music.
right.
So it may not be anyone around your way. Like I send my music to people that don't like hip hop at all.
Mm,
If I penetrate them, their mental and their feel of music, they respect music, but they don't like the fact that hip hop borrows so much. So it's rare, it's almost like people redoing things. So they have formed like a dislike.
yeah.
So when people come original, then they can say, oh, that's a great composition. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So where I was really like into breaks and different ways, like even the way that I flipped, I was talking about the grand verb today. People were so mad when I did that record because they felt like that's Rakim's beat. and,
Right. Right. Right.
and I said, no, I said, I have a distinct difference with when I sample anything that's someone else used. I will put my signature, my production signature on that. So when Grand Verb comes on instantly, you know what that is. It's never like, wait a minute, is that microphone theme?
Yeah.
Never that.
Right. 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 Right.
Never that. Anytime that I've used tracks that anyone else has used, there is a distinct difference, you know, so they can respect the people that I go to can respect that. Oh, you flipped that in a different way.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
you added a bridge. You just didn't do, a repetitious hook.
Right.
You did a total composition, bringing the samples in and out. When I did Funkin' Lesson like that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have hooks. I let George sing in between. I had scratch breaks. I was composing with bridges because I was respecting people dancing to my record.
Mm, right. Right.
That's what got it more rotation on the radio. That's something they want to put on early in the morning. When people going to work, you got a new version of Knee Deep.
Right. Right. Right.
The
Right.
dude rapping in a different pattern. I wasn't rapping in a common pattern.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't storytelling and it wasn't battle rap. It messed right into the funk. See how
Right.
see how the composition. So
Exactly.
they learned how to respect my signature production.
Right.
This little dude goes home, writes the song, makes the beat, comes up to the studio ready in the morning, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And some of the people there didn't deal with hip hop. Hip hop was very corny at a time frame with those corny drum sounds and stuff like that. I used breaks on everything. I didn't use any drum machines on original X Clan music
Mm.
at all. So a lot of the movement people gravitated toward my music.
Right. 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 Right.
They were you know, connoisseurs of the crate and so on. And then original people rock with me because I was doing different ways with that. You know what I'm saying? Who would do a whole analog style album like that and risk losing their record deal?
Right, right, right.
You feel what I'm saying? I had a good engineer, so I was able to front and make the music sound as if we were playing it live.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why Wu Tang is popular, dog, because it sounds like the original music that you made in your basement when you first started making beats. Like, yo, you heard that in the Kung Fu movie? Yo, take that, catch that, put this underneath.
Right, 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 right.
I start busting.
Right.
So, you know, some folks saw that as like grunge rap. You know what I'm saying? We spoke about this before. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Where the world starts to see that, like, yo, is that what they do in the projects and in
Yeah.
the basements of Brooklyn and shit? These niggas be catching kung fu movies and putting drum patterns underneath. Yo, that's ill. Let's buy that.
Right, right. I mean, well, they did tour with Rage Against the Machine in the '90s, and
It
you know
makes
what
sense.
I'm saying. So there you go.
And
Right,
you would
like
think, like, why are they doing that? Why? Because all the garage band groups, all those rock bands were garage bands.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
mom, I'm going in the garage with my friends and
yeah,
going.
yeah.
So that's our garage shit. We don't have, you know, in the lower income inner city, we're not sitting around with a drum kit and a guitar and all that kind of thing. We stacking tape decks and pause taping at a time frame and taking
Well,
little turntables and Ma, can I borrow your records? Don't scratch my shit. You know what I'm saying? We
right,
doing that, and that was a form of grunge. Again, that is a movement.
right,
You
right,
feel what I'm saying? That is a movement of like mind. So when those creators get together, when all those little garage bands gather to see the garage band that got signed, they can respect. Oh, you bought Wu Tang? Oh, that's like Black Grunge rap.
right, right, right.
Not the homies from the boroughs of New York speaking the God math and all of that kind of shit. You know, all of that shit is out of the door. It's like
Right.
you're defined as something when you go worldwide.
Yeah,
Your definition becomes different, dog.
yeah, and I mean, they were. I think they might have done Lollapalooza if I'm not mistaken, but like, yeah. So, and that it was funny as you're saying that. I'm thinking like, okay, movement lane then becomes market lane, like because you know what
Down
I
the
mean.
road, yes.
Yeah, down the road, like so, like because you know, like because clearly, I was just talking to my man. I saw Wu Tang for the first time in like maybe 6 months after Protecting That came out.
Mm.
I came to Hartford, and for $10,
Yes,
$10.
right.
You know, the last Wu tour that was going around, but it was like 200 or something like that. So
Right.
movement
Yes,
market.
correct. Because down the line now, there's like a little opening, like, yo, dog, you're up at the higher parts. You can go into this commercial lane, dog, and kind of cross over, what they call crossing over.
Right.
You can cross over. If you can go far enough down the line, you can cross over, dog. And the same thing with the commercial shit. You get to a point of creativity where it's like, yo, I'm tired of the plastic and this. I want to go back to when I was in the garage and rock out. So they cross back over. Like I said, some people go back to DJing. Some people go to learn the instrument.
Right,
You know, different shit.
right, right,
But
right,
it
right.
is levels of crossing back over. And it's like I said, it's not a good or evil. It's just an option. You know, you get more creative as you get older. What do you want to do with that time? What do you want to do with that life force, that creative force? What do you want to do with it? Do you want to continue to teach with it, or you want to continue to create new? Creating new, man, takes a lot, dog. That shit could make, you know, pull your hair out, dog. You know, turn you gray before you know, because you gotta pull from not biting anything. You can be inspired by other shit, but you gotta make a brand new lyric that no one has ever heard, dog. That's a lot.
Yeah,
You know, I salute songwriters, man, who stay in an original lane and don't bite. You know, that's a job. That's why those people get paid a lot of money. You know,
right.
it's like write me a song for Stevie Wonder that, you know, Ribbon in the Sky that no one has ever sung before, or someone who wrote a Johnny Cash song, or you know, or George Clinton as Atomic Dog. Who's ever created some shit like that? And the beat is different. You know what I'm saying? Those dudes are amazing, and we take that for granted sometimes. You know, we don't give enough tribute. So some musicians come back to the off road and be like, "Yo, I need to study some of these records in my house a little more. I need to just stop writing for a month and just listen." You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I stop writing for 2 or 3 weeks and just listen. So when I come back, my original beats sound fresher. Like, whew, I haven't heard this in a long time, because usually I just leave it on repeat until it just embeds itself and I'm loose with it and so on. Sometimes I just shut it all the way off. I don't want to hear no beats. I want to hear classic music. I want to hear R&B. I want to hear rock. I want to hear punk rock. I want to just drown myself in all kinds of crazy shit. So now when I come back, I gotta say, damn, just on the raw without my vocal, is this beat strong enough to stand on its own? If I heard it, would it attract me? You gotta ask yourself all kind of things, because I'm serving a market with my signature voice and my signature lyrics. So what's underneath me has to last. So I gotta use knowledge from both sides of the road. You know, as I've been able to travel and cross back and forth. Sometimes you go on and off road in your shit. It matters how your vehicle is built. Okay.
No, I mean, I love analogies. I mean, they always make perfect sense. And it's like, I'm thinking about, like, yeah, you better have some good suspension. You know what I mean? Like, but you better be able to have a good smooth ride. You know what I mean? Good tires. It's like all weather tires, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want the snow joints all year round. Correct. But you know, so
you get it.
I certainly feel you. And you know, I always appreciate hearing this from you in terms of just, because it's all, you know, we have two different perspectives or just outlooks. You know, you've been an artist for over 30 plus years.
Yes.
And I've been a part of this in some way for that long, but like my music career was short and stuff like this. So, you know, the business aspect of it and the creative aspect of it, you know, so that's why I really wanted to have this conversation, because you know, like, you dip your feet in both lanes, and you know what I'm saying. And we've talked extensively about, like, about the commercial stuff, the crossover stuff, and you know, and you've opened my eyes to a lot of things. Because it's funny, like, as I've always said, like, you blew my mind when we first started talking, and you were sharing some of these things. I was like, what? Like, he doesn't hate everything, like, like, damn, can this show go on? Like, he doesn't hate enough. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I need more of a hater. But
yeah, Cass would think I'm a grouch.
oh yeah,
on what's happening with music, and I'm like, no, man, it all sounds crazy when it's starting, but as it evolves, people will shut the hell up and start listening. You know, a little differently. So, you know, they hated this guy, and then now this guy is driving private planes and flying around the world. You know, niggas that we hated years ago are retiring now, selling their catalogs for $100 million, dog. So what's the use in hating? Why do you want to be in that lane? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the wrong team and shit. Like, you know, people looking at you like, you hate money, you hate success. You know, what are we doing in this? So, you know, same shit. You know, I don't hate, dog. You know, I'm looking like, wow, how did you climb that ladder that fast? You know, was that pure talent? You know, when you look at somebody like Alicia Keys, she's like a modern day Roberta Flack, God bless. You know, when Cass was looking at her as like the little American Idol girl who's so amazing with the piano and shit. Now look at her level, dog. It's untouchable.
Right.
And a world full of musicians, dog. You know, this woman then she can retire now, don't even have to think about music, just raise her family and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we gotta have an eye for, you know, for the next. You know, we can't close it like, you know, you can't just conveniently close that all the time and just shut shit out, man. You got to let the new vibration in. Like, who is this? And, you know, and let's see how they evolve. How can I contribute to that? If everybody's doing it, then everybody won't have time to contribute to the one.
Right.
It used to be a chosen factor with this thing, and now it's like, I'm not waiting for y'all. I'm gonna be a star. Let me hit my iWatch and start singing into it. See if I can catch a couple weirdos who like my yodeling or some shit. You know, niggas ain't even singing now. They yodeling and shit until they get to a point. It's like, what happened to the song training? What happened to the learning the notes and getting with the engineers and the spending money? You just want to skip class and be like, somebody will like it. Fuck it. And that's the wrong way to me. You know what I'm saying? You get a lucky lotto every once in a while that'll slide through the cracks. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say that, you know, nothing is, you know, is impossible and all this other shit, man. But yo, man, you get so much further when you have skill. You know what I'm saying? When you really just train it to a point where it's like, you know, a majority of the universe likes you more than not.
Right.
You know, you're never going to be able to attract every fucking body.
No, and when you take it serious, I mean, like, you know, again, when you talked earlier about like how much went into you DJing and understanding the records and like, you know what I mean, and just the craft, like same with me with dancing and stuff, like different moves, and it's like, you know what I mean, and certain things. When I'm practicing, I'm busting my ass, twisting my ankle, twisting my arm, and but practicing and then, you know, again, having, we talked about this before, just to recap, like, you know, again, having the team around you and having, and you said, you know, the elders were like, we're giving you blessings to do this. So like, same thing.
Yes.
You know, I was coming up, they were like, all right, young buck, you got that move, just keep working at that. All right, I'm gonna keep working at this. You know.
Correct. And you think about it, like with dancing. If someone said, yo, the fork in the road is coming, I want to send you to Brazil to learn capoeira, versus let's go to Paula Abdul's studio and get you ready for the Janet Jackson tour. Which way are you going?
Yeah.
It's both skills, but one is going to a dance studio, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 7, and whatever the hell. And then the other one is
yeah, man, yeah. You know, I mean, I used to put that Eddie Gordo shit in my moves, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
So yeah, of course. I mean, of course,
that off road, and at any time you could say, "Yo, my capoeira is so dope. I would love to go dance with the stars and blow them away." You feel what I'm saying? Cross over,
right?
You know, to test what you've been learning off road, to go there. Then you may be in Paula Abdul's studio, like, you know, the young nigga from the country try to challenge me, like my dance moves are not the shit. I'm going to the capoeira spot today to bust my shit. You know, they cross back over.
Yeah.
You know, it's all one thing, bro, but it is a decision to make on what grounds you. That's the same thing with rhyme. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna increase your rhyme, you're gonna go to the battle yard to get your bars up, or you're gonna go to the studio and write more material for the machine. You know, how do you want to develop your craft? That's the movement and the market aspect.
Right. I mean, and I guess being honest about it, like you said a little bit earlier, man, everyone's not cut out for, like, not everybody's cut out for the movement. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's cut out for the market, right? Like some people, like they're just not wired to be in the commercial sphere dealing with like fuckery. Like some people just, I'm not fucking with it. I don't care how nice I am. Like, you know, some people just might not be that thing. Some people, I'm just saying, like, it seems like as we're talking, this is what's coming up for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, it just seems like, as you said it a couple of times, it's not, it just is what it is. And
right.
And I think, you know, that's why I guess there's different lanes for different, you know, different reasons. Because not everybody, also for the consumers, not all the consumers aren't the same. So not every consumer, there's consumers right now. If I put Brother J on, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Like, right? I mean, let's, like, if I put Hyro on, what the fuck is this? I put on 50, we vibing now. Or I put on, you know, whatever, little so-and-so, it's a vibe, you know what I mean? So,
because these are creative lanes now that we're talking about. This is not for everybody. Some people need to pull the car over and not make the decision.
Right.
Let's get that straight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These are creative lanes. Like, where are you taking your creativity?
Right.
You know, there's no fooling yourself on here. You know, these are These are racing lanes. You got the little, old school Datsun nigga, and this is a lane for the big trucks and the master whips going up here. Like I said, the quality of your vehicle is important. The quality of who you are and how you carry it is part of this thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
these lanes ain't for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes the lane is get the fuck off the highway. Like,
Correct.
and take another. Like, you need to go. You're on the wrong trail here. Like, you need to, like
the
we need
FDR
electricians and plumbers and teachers. Like,
yes,
like
yes. The FDR is different than the Autobahn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No matter if you're doing 100 miles on the FDR, it's not the Autobahn shit, dog. So you got to learn how to, ride these lanes a little different. So before you choose off-road or the paved, can your vehicle withstand? Do you have the stamina? Do you have the endurance and the skill to whip in these roads?
Right.
That's the question that a creative person has to ask themselves before they choose the movement or the market.
Right. Because you might be driving a Yugo and you trying to go to, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you all fucked up then. So one quick question before we get out of here. I can't believe the hour goes by so quickly, but I guess we both qualify as elders, kind of. I mean, are you, as an elder now in this game, are you disappointed with hip hop overall? When if you take a step back, are you disappointed with hip hop, where it is and how it is, or happy with it, or just indifferent? Or does it depend on the day?
I don't, I'm an active veteran, dog, and a lot of the generation will put me in an elder position, but I'm
you're not accepting that yet.
Yeah, I just have more to offer. I'm not like I'm like a battlefield general. Like, I always go out. I'm never sitting in the Pentagon telling cats what to do. It's shot calling. I'm out there saying, send more bullets.
Right.
Helicopter. I got 2 injured. I'm one of them, dog. So, my status with the game, I'm not disappointed, man. This thing has become a real deep market. I dislike the administration, and I've said that several times. The program directors, the A&Rs that don't do their jobs, the VPs and the presidents that are not doing their jobs, to make it a safer lane for the real creative people, the people that are supposed to be driving on the roads and the right shit. I'm disappointed at the administration and the outlets, so busy to attract advertisement and not figure out how to open the door for new creativity. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a lane so we keep expressing, dog. I know too many people with backed up catalog, man. I may know, 2 or 3 people who have mastered a CeeLo's type of style where he had the singing and the spitting all together, or like a New Black Thought. We'll never see groups like this again if they keep holding the game down, like we spoke on Gatekeepers last episode that we were building on. I'm disappointed in that.
Right.
I'm disappointed how the veterans have sold units for years and can't come back to the same company that they made money with to adjust a new deal. If you've been selling my records for 20, 30 years, I should never have to look for a record deal.
Right.
Especially if it's still selling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I dislike that. That's like, you worked and made thousands and thousands of dollars with a partner and you can't make a new deal. Right. That's why, that puts the veteran artists back into the pool, going back to ground zero. They shouldn't be grinding with someone trying to find a record deal today. There's no way in the world. You have disrespect of the veterans. And then for the ones that made it, it became something else. If they went to acting and they have like millions of dollars and so on, shame on them for not contributing to something that that lifts the veterans up who made bad management decisions or the contract wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? They're a business because they have catalog, and if they still have ability, they're a business. So why not invest in that?
Right. Right.
If
Right.
they're worth it, some people are worth it, and some people are not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm disappointed. My disappointment is complex, but
Right.
but it's righteous.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. That makes perfect sense, though. I mean, because we've long talked about the power brokers and all of this on all the levels, and just the fuckery that goes on there. So you know what I mean. It makes perfect sense. So it seems like it's always, in conclusion, it kind of seems like it's always been both.
Yeah,
And artists and all elements actually have to make some decisions. Am I gonna dance and stick my ass out, or whatever, this, that, the third, or am I gonna do this? Am I gonna put my paint? Am I just gonna be in the subways, dirty with rats and shit, bombing, or am I gonna be in the galleries like Cause? Cause is an original TC5 jersey, and he causes
yeah,
every you don't even have to know graffiti, but people know Cause, those big dolls. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
so
yes,
and he had an exhibit here in the Andy Warhol Museum like for like 6 months. I mean, causes that dude. So
yeah.
in terms of the decisions you got to make. So
Correct. You got to make the right administration decisions. You got to make the right decisions for your path.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you got to slow down, change the tires,
right,
get
yeah,
on some other terrain, dog. And that's for the chosen. Like I said, there's a racer mind and then there's a consumer mind.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And the ones who are racing in the game, is a different timing. There's a different way that we see shit. And there should be an exceptional place for that kind of mental.
right. I
You know what I'm
really
saying?
agree.
That's where the game has to evolve, dog.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Good build, my G. I appreciate you. That was fun, man. It's always good to build with you. Everybody, we do this the first Wednesday of every month. This was episode 53, Constant Elevation, and we keep it moving. It's been like 4 years or something. We just go, and we keep it going. And all of our past episodes are on the Carrying the Culture YouTube channel. So, and make sure you rocking with us, Brother J X Clan on Instagram and everywhere.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you, family. I really appreciate you, man. Um, as always, and we will talk soon. We'll be back next month.
Indeed. And salute to all the people who appeared in the chat. I didn't even put the chat up while we were talking. I forget we on YouTube now.
Yeah,
So big up to the people, man, that came through and build with us for the evening, man.
yeah,
Respect.
absolutely. And we'll get this. We'll get a clip of this up on YouTube probably within a week or so after Wifey gets the edit done, and we'll get this up and it'll be on the channel, and we'll get it on IG. And we will keep moving. We'll see you guys next month for episode 54 of Constant Elevation. And Brother Jay in the building. Appreciate you, family. We will talk soon.
Peace, God. Give your family my regards, man.
Same here, brother. Have a good one.
Blessings. One.
Peace.